Phil America interview. Take one. Mark?
I'm Phil America. I'm an artist, activist, and designer based here in Los Angeles. I'm an artist primarily, but I focus a lot on other forms of creativity, really trying to kind of explore the boundaries of what creativity can be and what it is. And sometimes that touches on architecture, design, graphic design, fashion, furniture, kind of literally looking at what creativity is as a whole. I think a lot of times artists put pressure on themselves to answer questions or to make a statement, and there's always this idea that everything should be a statement. This should be a statement piece. This should be something that has something to say. And for me as an artist, mostly I would say because of who I am in this world, I try to ask questions and ask more questions than I do give answers. And so the questions that I ask, sometimes they're to myself, sometimes they're to the public, sometimes they're there just to exist as something that can spark a conversation. But for me, it's all about questions rather than answers. Yeah, even in my home, I try to surround myself with things that really say who I am, but also tie back into things that I've done. So they're all very sentimental. Everything in my house is very sentimental. You can walk around my house and see a myriad of different things from different collaborations I've done, books that I've read that inform the work that I'm trying to create, and furniture I've made. And so when you walk into my home, it's kind of a snapshot of what's in my brain. And for me, what's important is empowering others and hearing the voices of others. So when you look at my work, it's oftentimes an amplification of other people around me. It's an amplification of the collaboration I have with those other people. And obviously it all flows through the lens of me as an artist or as a creative, but at the end of the day, it's really never about me. In my work, I will oftentimes try to ask a question that nobody's asking or explore something that nobody else is exploring. And whether it's through the lens of furniture, whether it's looking, taking somebody who is a creative, but isn't being considered an artist. And so as a simple example, I had an art show that was in a non-traditional space. It was not an art space, it was actually a swap meet, and I took artists and artisans who are incarcerated and had them create work, and then I had those smuggled out and I showed those works. So then you kind of recontextualize these creatives and expand the idea of what creativity and art can be. The challenge I always put on myself is to try to create work that nobody else can make and nobody else is making. I try to ask questions that nobody else is asking, and I try to focus on things that nobody else is focusing on. I think in our world today, there's a lot of things that get sensationalized, that get romanticized, and there's a lot of things that get overlooked when you do that. And so I try to tap into, whether it's a subculture, whether it's a culture, whether it's, oppressed people, whether it's a place, and I try to really create an intellectual dialogue with me in that place or face and come up with something as a result of that. My creative path really started with graffiti on passenger trains, which is a very esoteric, strange subculture within a subculture already, which is the subculture of graffiti. And so as I dig into these subcultures, I start to see parallels, whether it be graffiti or whether it be people who are incarcerated creating work while they're behind bars. So trying to find the commonalities and the beauty within those things rather than the kind of sensationalized negativity that comes from the media. So I try to recontextualize subcultures and try to show things for what they are rather than for what we're being told they are. I think oftentimes in the media we get told something is one thing, and we're often sold a lie, and we're often tricked into thinking something is something else other than what it is. And so within those spaces I try to find the beauty within the madness. So when you look at my work, it may seem like it's all over the place and it's all very different, but when you start to dig deeper, you see that there's a through line. And so, with things like the wallpaper, I dug back into my past and I pulled from my history with passenger trains, and I took the designs from the seat patterns and then I turned those into wallpaper. I don't do anything alone, I can't do anything alone, and I don't want to do anything alone. Everything I do is collaborative. Everything I do brings in other people. Everything I do connects with other creatives and creates something together. As somebody that never wants to be put in a box, I would describe myself only as one thing, and that's a creative. I oftentimes have to say that I'm an artist, or I have to say I'm a designer or a photographer, but at the end of the day, I'm just a creative. And for me, what drives me is the desire to create, and I don't see any other way for me. I have to create.